beginning phases, but there's a few ones. And now we have several minutes for the very short report or update on the situation with the foundation. We will be listening to your reports, but before that we would like to say what is happening at the foundation now. So, this year, all of you are well aware of the bad situation with the bank Rishatnik, and unfortunately the bank won't rise from the dead. But anyway, our foundation will continue its work because we have another foundation of Dr. Hakulishin, which is in Geneva, and this fund will now support ours and our program, Young Generation Will Change Ukraine. It will still continue for at least 3 more years. This year we managed to have 14, yes Roma? 14 new groups, and we will hear all of you today. And we plan to have 10 more this autumn. So after the conference, a new call of applications will be announced, and this autumn 10 new groups will be able to take part in the program. As you all already know, we are looking for the coordinator of the program, Young Generation Will Change Ukraine, so maybe you or some of your friends would be interested in taking on this opportunity and responsibility. Roman Melnik, who coordinated the program for the last 1.5 years, will now be more engaged in the work of association and will take a great responsibility of coordinating the program of specialized studies for not only the participants of the program but from some other people. You've already heard probably that we are planning to have specialized studies of the system of education in Switzerland. So we will form a group of 7, which will consist half from members of the association and from representatives of the Ministry of Education and maybe from the Committee of Verkhovna Rada responsible for the education reforms. And this group will go to Switzerland, stay there for 2 weeks, and will study the system of education as the central topic of their research. And also, as our response to the situation with the banking sphere in Ukraine, we plan to have another specialized studies to Austria. And this time, the group will study the banking and the financial system for Ukraine to have a good example of how we should come out of such situations which happened with our bank, for example, and in general how we have to transform the banking and financial system in general. This group will also consist of members of association and some other specialists and experts. So, I'm happy to announce that this year we have chosen the 3rd generation of the Ukrainian youth delegates to the UN. And Ulana Akhtanomova, where are you? Yes, is one of them. She is the member of the program, and now she will represent Ukraine at the General Assembly of the United Nations in this autumn in New York. And yes, so this is just the general outlook of what we have and what we are planning to do. And last thing, but not less important, this year the president of the foundation, Adam Hakulishin, will have his 90th anniversary, and we plan to have a very warm but big celebration at the Palace of Ukraine. So please come up with some of the ideas of how to congratulate him, maybe some big project from the association or something. So whatever you think, this is still 5 months before this birthday. So you are welcome to share your ideas, and we will look for you to come to this глянемо, підтверджуємо, що ви зможете отримати можливість вийти на сцену. So we confirm this, that you will have your several minutes on the stage. And now we have 1 hour and 15 minutes for the reports of 12 groups, 12, 13, 14 groups. Roma, you're welcome to coordinate this part, moderate it, and have a very successful and fruitful meeting today. I know that our association is a group of professionals, but also a group of friends, and I'm sure that together we can do many wonderful things, and we, of course, shouldn't forget about our common goal to transform Ukraine, in which we will help you, and I think we will be successful in it. So, thank you.
Okay, let's start quickly. We are going by our alphabet. The first is Austria, then Germany, Norway, and so on. And I invite here the group of Victoria Kvenko from Party of Odessa and Dnipro, to present the experience. Next one is the group of Tamila Julia Tsarenko. Be ready. You have 6 minutes. If you're out of time, I will just show you or take the microphone so that we are ready.
Thank you. My name is Victoria. I'm really happy to be here today. Well, Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And I'm pretty sure this motto can be the motto of everyone in this room. And I'm sure that everyone in this room forms a unity of people who aspire, inspire others, and achieve their goals. Well, our group went to Austria from 17th of April to 23rd of April, and all in all we had 25 meetings in 5 days. Our group consisted of 8 persons coming from Kiev, Dnipro, and Odessa. We covered, according to the rules of the contest, we had to cover all the spheres: social sphere, education, social protection, business, finances, sustainable development, and social business. Well, what we found interesting about social sphere in Austria is that 80% of young people sign up for vocational training. Austria is also #1 performer in hydropower usage and smart grids pioneer, and it takes number 21st place in the ease of doing business in world rankings. Also, Austria holds the 5th place among youth unemployment in Europe, which is actually huge. Also, the GDP level is $436.9 billion, and it makes 0.7 of world economics. And now I would like to give forward to my colleagues, and also like to thank the Budanka Relation Foundation and their team for their kindest assistance in helping us make it happen, and also like to thank all my team members for helping me in making it happen at all. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So, 1 moment, next slide. So as you may see, this slide was the most disputable among our team members, because each of us wanted to show his own meetings as the most important and interesting. And so basically I can tell that all of them were really exciting, interesting, and that was the most difficult assignment, to find at least 6 of them to show to you. Then I would like to tell that during our visit we were able to visit 4 federal ministries, and key concept of meetings with representatives of federal ministries were infrastructure innovations, gender equality, and justice system reform. I mean justice system stability in Austria and justice system reform in Ukraine. Then also very interesting visit was to Austrian Business Agency, which was really useful for our team because of unexpected enthusiasm of these institution representatives and their strong interest in cooperation with Ukrainian small and medium enterprises. We also managed to establish effective contacts with at least 3 Austrian universities, priceless for our short-term projects implementations. I will not stop on notary system because this will be really long and we have really not much time for it. Sorry. These are our short-term projects. Basically, most of them are aimed at educational sphere. First one, as you can see, is aimed at social entrepreneurship education, and this project is for high schools. It includes lectures and competitions among pupils of high schools, and also these may be interesting for local businesses as they may support their future employees. Then second part is educational boards and assessment centers, which are like a project designed for increasing autonomy of schools and universities. And last part is democracy lessons, which are also for schools. And this will be a really interesting project. We've already started working over it. And so let me give the word to the next participant.
Thank you, Sasha. I'll tell a couple of words about our long-term projects. And the first one is my passion, actually. I'm a partner in a business accelerator in Odessa. And we are going to create this kind of acceleration programs all over Ukraine. And we are short on time, so I'll skip a couple of slides. How are we going to achieve it? First of all, we are gathering government support and increasing social awareness of people through mass media. Secondly, we are applying for a grant to build it. Because it's going to be a non-profit incubation system for young businesses all over Ukraine, and everybody is welcome who wants to support us, who is seeing himself as a potential partner somewhere in Ukraine. We are engaging everybody to come over and share your ideas, and probably we can make it happen together. Are we have a couple of minutes more? 30 seconds. 30 seconds, okay. Then we are going to finish our presentation. Thank you, everybody, for a very nice time today, and thanks to Foundation and Mr. Gavrilychkin himself. It was really great year for us and a great experience from which we generated a lot of useful information. I hope it will help to change Ukraine in the future.
Swedish group, Easy Business, which Gavrilychkin was talking about a lot. They are in Paris, so I give them the floor.
Thank you. Hi everyone, it's a great pleasure to be here and a great honor. My name is Nikolai Gerda, I'm one of the co-founders of the Easy Business NGO. Just a couple of words about the background of our organization. We started off 2 years ago as advisors to then Minister of Economic Development and Trade, Pavlo Sheremetov. And after the minister left, we started an NGO, Easy Business, which aims to support the Ukrainian government in implementing the regulatory reform. And we chose, thanks to the program Young Generation Will Change Ukraine, visit Sweden as one of the countries which is a pioneer in the regulatory reform and one of the pioneers of so-called regulatory guillotine approach to the reform. And I want to pass this microphone to my colleagues who will tell you more about what happened during our trip to Sweden. Thank you.
Hi. So basically we have chosen Sweden because it's undoubtedly one of the most successful and effective countries in all spheres of social-economic life. And as my colleague mentioned, we were particularly interested in the regulatory guillotine that was implemented some years ago. Apart from this, we have conducted something like 15 meetings. And here you can see one of the most memorable ones. And the general impression is that I get the greatest conclusion and lesson that Ukraine can learn from Swedish experience and that we will try to implement in Ukraine is that the relationship between all the parties in the economy of Sweden, both government agencies, business, society in the whole, they are built in a very well-balanced, cooperative and effective way. These relations are based on trust and people trust the government, business trusts the government, and I guess this is the core of the effectiveness of Sweden. Yeah, and here you can see the most memorable meetings, like the Riksbank, which is National Bank of Sweden, Swedish Energy Agency, National Board of Trade, and Confederation of Swedish Enterprise.
Okay, so why Sweden? Probably that's because of they advanced in a couple of reforms which we are now implementing in Ukraine. One of the probably one of the most important reforms they advanced in the 70s was the regulatory guillotine. Actually, Sweden is the first country who achieved the impressive regulatory reform of regulatory system. And then many more countries in the world made the similar reform. The second one, in the 90s, they made the deregulation of the electricity market, which is actually Ukraine is achieving now. And as you might know, there is a lockout in the parliament on deregulation of the electricity market. So our probably three main outcomes from our trip to Sweden is that the first is actually that we are now trying to make and build a system to achieve the regulatory guillotine and to make a regulatory guillotine in Ukraine. In two words, regulatory guillotine is the comprehensive revision of the whole regulatory system. This is what this business is now achieving and setting as the goal for the government and for the whole country. The second outcome from Sweden is the single window approach for investors. We are now trying to make the renewables energy, not with Sweden authorities, but with Norwegian authorities. We are making the single window approach for investors for renewables. And the third outcome is deregulation of the electricity market, basically, and deregulation of the energy sector. Yeah, this is shortly. If we have more time, I can briefly tell you about the regulatory guillotine, because this is according to the President's message to the members of Parliament a couple of months ago, when this government was appointed, it's deregulation is the reform #1 in Ukraine. How you can actually deregulate Ukrainian economy? What is deregulation? This is the abolishment of different regulatory constraints, regulatory overlaps. For example, how much time do you need to register a business? Who knows? Oh, relatively, it's more or less correct. 2 years ago, it was needed 20 days. And we were number 100 in doing business rankings. When we joined Promotional Meta team, we drafted a law draft which simplified the procedure from 20 days to 2 days. This law draft was adopted 1.5 years ago. And then, together with the Minister of Justice, we simplified further this procedure. And today you can go to any notariate in Ukraine, submit him documents, and in a couple of hours your business will be registered. Your company will be registered. We're talking about limited liability company. This is the example of regulatory constraints. But unfortunately in Ukraine we have thousands of such regulatory constraints. You have to obtain different permits, certificates, licenses, and this is which is a bit hidden. But this is basically what prohibits business from development and growth. And how regulatory is solved? You make the group of people, together with the authorities like ministries, form the team. And then you make an inventory of all the regulatory constraints, all of the regulatory acts. Then you create the list of criteria, how you would assess every regulatory act. You assess from the legal perspective, from the economic perspective, from the international commitments of Ukraine, etc., etc. And after the revision, you have actually you filter all of the regulatory acts into 3 groups. The first group is to abolish, the second group is to simplify them, and the third group is to keep them as is. And after you have these 3 groups, well, that's obvious what to do with the first group. You simply create a law draft which will abolish the regulatory acts which are not needed. And the second group, you create a law draft which will simplify the regulation. Instead, you will ask. From our international analysis, lots of countries did this for last 20 years. Some of the most efficient one was the South Korea. They, in 1 year, they abolished 50% of the regulations, and it impacted their economy significantly. They created the flow of foreign direct investments of $50 billion just in 3 years after the reform. The GDP growth, only because of this reform, was 3%, so it's a lot. And this is basically what we need to achieve in Ukraine. Thanks. This is our outcome in Sweden.
Now it's Austria time. Julia Cicerano. Will you join us?
Hello everyone. First of all, on behalf of our group, I would like to thank the Foundation and all the team of Foundation for such a possibility to visit Austria. Our group was studying the energy efficiency, bioenergy and renewable energy. Within 5 working days, we had 18 meetings. We consider they were very fruitful. Our team contains of specialists from different organizations. Most of us specialized on energy. The most special about the country, what impressed us. Austria is one of the one of the best European countries which import wood for production of heat and electricity. They are very they very care about their nature. We were told about that Austrian target for energy, Austria Energy Program 2020 is 34% to share of renewable energy and 16% of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. By now, there are 50,000 of automated systems of biomass heating installed all over Austria, and for now, almost 500 jobs is employment in biomass heating. The most important thing is that Austria is the best in decentralization heating systems, in competitive heat market and deregulation on energy market. The most useful meetings was in the Ministry of Environment where we were told about 4 main programs: on Austria Forest Program, Austria Agri-Environmental Program, Clean Better Lakes, also in the future, and food is precious. The other one meeting was in IC Consulting, where our group discussed the possible ways of establishing a club for young engineers, where young people who develop their skills, and Austrian Energy Agency, where we discussed common projects and the possible ways of starting the development of educational programs on energy management and alternative energy in municipalities. And now I would like to give a word to my colleague, Olga Sverchuk, who will tell a bit more about our...
Thanks. So, as we were in Austria a little bit, so in last year, 2015, till now we've done a lot of steps, and one of them are draft law number 4334, dated on March 2016, on amendments to the law of Ukraine on heat supply. As you know, district heating is dense, developed in urban areas, and in 2014, fuel consumption is actually from gas. It's the most part of it. So it's a great opportunity for biomass substitution. But if we want to biomass substitution is effective, we need some conditions, and these conditions is draft law. So the main idea of the draft law I've actually talked about is biomass-based heat tariff, and it can give a great opportunity to develop bioenergy in Ukraine. And we're expecting some outcomes. Is first of all, it's to reduce state budget expenditures by direct decreasing of heat prices. It will be simplified and strict regulation and bureaucratization of the sector, and we are increasing investment in the biomass to energy generation. We have also the long-term changes we are working on within our bioenergy association and engineering sector biomass, and it's a competitive heat market. And here are some milestones for future competitive heat market. It's unbundling of heat production and heat transmission, allowing of privatization of communal heat producers, and guaranteed access to thermal network for renewable energy generation companies, and as well as last but not least, tendering system providing real market competition among various heat producers. And we have initiatives and plans, for sure. We are lobbying this draft law 4334, and we are taking part in 2 projects of European Commission. It's Horizon 2020 and a project of Sustainable Urban Demonstration Energy Project. Also, after our trip to Austria, We are cooperating with Austrian Energy Agency, and we are working on the establishment of the Club for Young Engineers in cooperation with IC Consulting. Thank you for your attention and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we as a team would like to thank Bogdan Kovic Foundation and everyone for this wonderful opportunity to visit Austria and to get a lot of knowledge and experience and then transfer it to Ukraine. So our trip was on the 21st to the 30th of January this year, and we visited two cities, Vienna and Linz. So during these 5 working days, we had 17 meetings, and the next slide is about our team. So we have a perfectly gender-balanced team of 6 persons, 3 boys and 3 girls, and each of us represented a different sphere of expertise, so economics, culture, politology, sociology, international relations, and law, as well as culture. And so each of our meetings was dedicated to different field of study. And every one of us is a member of an NGO called Society Initiatives Institute, based in Kyiv and in Lviv. And also a huge part of our team is from Lviv, and one participant is from Mariupol, and I pass the floor to the slide. To you, Dan.
So a few words about what impressed us the most during our visit. So first of all, it's the fact that Austria supports strongly small and medium business. Also, they have a very high level of inclusion of people with special needs. Also, they subsidize for renewable sources of energy, especially in Upper Austria, where our team also was, specifically in Linz. Another fact is that 85% of Austrian population is involved somehow in volunteering activities or NGO activities. Austria is one of the centers of international relations, and 27 headquarters of international organizations are located in Vienna. Plus 13.5 million tourists visited Vienna in 2015. Okay, now slide.
We had a lot of different useful meetings for us, and we decided to represent one of them. First of all, I want to say about Vienna Board. I organized this meeting in Vienna. It's a special commercial project in Vienna, which is supported by the government. Vienna Board gives a job opportunity for people with special needs, and people with special needs can be easier integrated in the labor market. They have special qualification courses, they have special work for them, and moreover they have equal payments for their work and have a very high level of salary there. We also met there some students who unfortunately cannot find them in the life and cannot choose their future profession. They have special opportunities to see how it works on the practice and to choose their future education. And the most interesting thing that in 2015 this organization earned a lot of money. They put money in deposits and get some incomes, and Vienna produces also competitive products. These products can each person can buy in any supermarket, and it was sometimes for us shock because the quality of this product are really good. The next meeting was in the Vienna City Council. There we can see a clear city development strategy, how it works on the practice. We had the meetings with the representatives of the Social Democrats fraction. It's the most powerful political party there. And we see how City Council can support cultural heritage and art projects. They spend more than 200,000 euros per year on the art projects and cultural heritage. The last, not the last, but it's like Austrian Economic Chamber, we have the meetings, and it's a special institution which unites all Austrian companies and firms, and it has more than 450,000 members. And we had the opportunity to see how the business work in Austria. And last but not least, it's Creative Region Linz. Linz is a very small city in Austria, industrial city. It was interesting, especially for me, because this city is similar to Mariupol, where a lot of some steel plants, but at the same time they have a very good now economical and ecology situation. It's also they realize different art projects, different student projects there, and it's a great example of former tobacco factory revitalization, regional government initiative, and we also had a meeting there with the different people who work and really proud to be and live here.
We don't have any time. I have like 20 seconds to conclude.
How many?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. So, okay. Two short-term changes in Ukraine are to be implemented. So, we saw that the NGO impact in Austria is very huge, and we want to develop this community in Ukraine and intercultural relations also between Ukraine and Austria. And three aspects we are going to work on the long-term perspective is decentralization, transformation of educational sphere, and cooperation. So decentralization, we mean decentralization of initiatives, meaning we will teach our citizens to not to wait for the government to make some changes, but to make changes from down to up. And we do this already by conducting trainings and helping and supporting citizens and communities to unite and to make their own projects. And transformation of educational sphere, we're already working as an NGO on the special program for the schools for the pupils of 8th and 10th grades of the leadership and political activity course. Thank you. If you have any more questions, please ask us. And
Thank you very much.
Hello everybody. First of all, I want to express gratitude to the Bogdan Khmelnytsky Foundation for having such a great experience in Germany. How to make this?
Yes,
and I cannot show our blood group. It's going to help me a lot. Please show. First slide. Yes, that's it. Thank you very much. So, I don't want to speak about figures because it's boring. I will speak about three things that inspired us most of all. The first one is diamonds. You know, Germany is a very interesting nation and a very interesting state. And they are not afraid to look for diamonds in the dust. That's why they paid a huge attention to innovations. These innovations are their diamonds, and there are a lot of events in Germany dedicated to finding this new innovation in every sphere. That's why maybe this is one of the reasons that their GDP is one of the highest in Europe, and they have such tremendous figures of export and so on and so on. The second thing is relationships. Germany are not afraid to build trust and to verify relationships, to have good partners. And these relationships is dedicated to themselves, to their between themselves, and relationships to their country. This is the second thing I think we could learn from the German. And the third one is it's not a thing, it's a human. It's very famous woman in the world. It's Angela Merkel. We were very lucky to be participants of a big conference organized by CDU fractions. It was a closed conference, not for foreign guests. And one woman in the red jacket, she was Angela Merkel, mentioned a few words about Ukraine in her speech. She said that Ukraine, and she emphasized several times that Ukraine is one of the most important partners for Germany. And it was not a joke, because it was really a closed conference, and she even didn't suspect it. Some young guys from Ukraine were listening to her. And that's why I think that we should use it and to have it, to keep it in our mind, to make some improvements in our country, to reach such huge level of development, to be a reliable partner to Germany. And that's why I think that you can read about our trip if you are interested in our report that we published in the website of the foundation. But those three things that impressed me very much. And I will also mention that about the future plans of our team. I'm proud to say that the experience that we get from this trip, the participants of our group will implement in their everyday work. That's work in field of law, because our group consisted of the assistants to MPs, and our group will implement their experience in their laws on public administration, public finance, agricultural sphere, etc. That's why this trip and this tour was very important for us, and we are very thankful for such great experience and opportunities. Thank you.
Next German group, Dina Ablayeva.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests and participants of the program Young Generation Change Ukraine. My name is Dina Ablayeva, and I like to present our study trip to Germany. First of all, I want to say a few words to thank Bogdan Gavrilishvili Foundation for this possibility to take part in this amazing program. We got a great opportunity not only to know how is developed, so developed countries, Germany has become one of the best countries in the world of living standards. And also we have had opportunity to represent our country in a high-level negotiations meeting. I hope we did it well. We had 18 meetings within a week with governmental and non-governmental organizations. Our group chose two different cities of historical development and level of development, such as Berlin and Dresden, that have helped us to compare two regions and to see different ways of cities management. Our team consists of 5 persons who are professionals us the chance to see this country from different angles and to make it useful for our opinion recommendation what we want to implement in our country. And I want to present my partner, Karpov Alena, that will give a further briefing of our business.
So, dear audience, in the main part of the presentation, I would like to speak about some things that impressed us most. So, it was 30% of the Germany's GDP goes to maintain its social system. That's how a social market economy must work in practice. The next was about 8.5 euros. It was a nationwide minimum wage in Germany. And I should say the next thing that impressed us, the fact that Berlin takes the 9th place in Global Startup Ecosystem ranking in 2015. Also, we were surprised that 2/3 of the population is youth under 33 years old, and the demographic problem is still at its peak in Germany. And the level of unemployment is very low, 6.5%. And also, we were amazed that more than 1.5 million of international tourists visited Dresden in 2015. I must say that it is due to the fact that they have very great city marketing. And I think that in Ukraine we should develop city marketing as well, because we have smart people and good resources for that. On the next slide, you can see the most useful meetings. They were the Ministry of Family Affairs, Senior Citizens, Women and Youth. And also, we had a very welcoming and warm meeting in the Saxon State Ministry for Higher Education, Research and the Arts. And the representatives of that ministry gave us short, brief presentations of their activities and achievements. We also visited the Committee on Eastern European Economic Relations that deals with the organization of conferences, seminars with high-ranking government representatives and entrepreneurs from Eastern countries. And it was interesting to find out that at the moment they are working on changing the paradigm of relations between Germany and Russia that have had great cooperation and connections in the past. The next organization was the German Council on Foreign Relations, and these two meetings were also of great interest. Here I want to say just one thing, that as for the politics, I'd like to emphasize their high political culture that exists in the political circles in Germany. That's what our politicians should learn first, I think.
1 minute.
And, yes, okay. So, 3 key short-term changes. We would like to involve youth into politics and mass media. We would like to implement tax deduction for financing NGOs, as it was mentioned by many other groups, and develop new approach to decentralization as well. As for the long-term changes, we would like to propose an amendment to the Constitution on the reform of public and municipal companies. We would like to work on a co-determination law and to promote non-governmental organizations. So, at the moment, we are working on the arrangement of meetings with different organizations. We would like to hold some seminars and conferences, and we have even a bill of this co-determination law. And I would like to finish our presentation with the quote of Mahatma Gandhi, who said that we must become the change we wish to see in the world. Thanks for your attention.
Now it's time for Norway. Rock, muzyczka. You have 5 minutes.
Hello everyone, my name is Vladislav. I will start in Norway. We get a lot of knowledge and experience. And in Norway we visited 2 cities, it's Oslo and
My name is Natalia Brod, and first of all, I would like to say, and I would like to pay your attention in some main features and some main principles of successful development of our society. First of all, I would like to say that the very strong government support to business and to entrepreneurship. Besides that, very high level of inclusion, the people with disabilities and the integration social value group, the safe environment for next and the safe environment and natural resource for next generations, and a very high level of culture in all of the spheres in society. And is about Norway some impressive facts.
About Norway, $873 billion in national government saved for next generations. That's really very huge and powerful. For example, in many European countries, that's maybe 200 billion. The percent of all export goods and loans, oil extracting and processing, 68,215 euro in the region gross domestic product per capita. It's really very big. It's really very big for this country. No natural gas in domestic use, only electricity from hydropower. 30% of this hydropower is exported. And of course, Norway have a very huge and powerful renewable energies. It's because many regions of Norway produce the energy, and many private companies invest in this sector, and it's very good. About we have 21 meetings in 5 days in Norway and Portland, and the most interesting of these meetings is the Region and Energy Agency of Ecology. Here in Industry Park based in Portland. OGOCRIM is the National Authority for Investigation and Prosecution of Economic and Environmental Crime, as the Norwegian Ministry of Justice and Public Security, and FART. About FART.
FART is really very big business corporation in Norway, and one of the main spheres of the development is social entrepreneurship. I would like to say that the government really help and really support, and they have very good cross cooperation between corporation and state and local government, and help to integrate some people with disabilities, people social value group, and they try to create some conditions to their development. And we have a few levels of development social entrepreneurship. First of all, this is the financial support. Besides that, they try to mentoring the small enterprise, and they try to create some network. The people who really would like to change some their country and change and have some social value growth.
About the meeting in Norwegian Ministry of Justice and Public Security, our group discussed about future formation of courts in Norway, innovation in police department, and system of prisons. So most interesting of this is the system of prison, because in Norway they built really very interesting systems that consist of 3 levels of prisons, but
jump to your plans.
Sorry?
Jump to your plans. I'm going for this.
About plans, okay. 3 short-term steps to be greatly implemented. First, implementation of high efficiency of judicial systems. In Norway, they have a very powerful and service-led system, and the level of developing and about last 10 years is very big. Development of methods and to stretch the corruption, and development of new methods and instruments for sharp economical growth. One of the elements in Ukraine, you would work on as team. That's the development and successful implementation of infrastructural projects as an instrument to attract direct foreign investments, like in industrial parks. We importantly visited really one of the biggest industrial parks in Europe, and we were very impressed in that parks. Development of industrial area, like in Ukraine, it's a Kalish Industrial Park, and develop industrial area, Central Industrial Park, in cooperation with local authorities on premise to see. That in Ukraine, industrial parks is low development, and we have some maybe help from the Norwegian colleagues to develop this area in Ukraine, because we have very big potential to develop in Ukraine. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I would like to tell you why Norway, because that's a very quite important question for us. Why did we choose Norway? We all know Norway. We all hear about the different things like, you know, like Scandinavia, nature, right? So, but we thought that Norway is the country which managed to build its system in that way so that it can treat all the people the same, like in a trust and justifiable way, and the people from their side treat the state in the same way. So they have this mutual cooperation between people, between the people and between the state. And so we chose Norway for this reason. I will do it in this way. So each of us was responsible for different spheres like social system, politics, foreign affairs, economy, finances, ecology, and energy sector. So let us just jump to these figures. These are the most interesting things we just learned from Norway. First of all, about electricity, it's really very interesting because all the electricity they use, because they have a huge amount of oil, you know, oil storages everywhere, but they use the electricity only by hydropower. And that's a very good thing Ukraine can learn from Norway, how to use natural resources for the benefit of the state without, you know, depending on one resource which you have. For example, Norway has a huge amount of oil, as I said, but they are not dependent on that. They don't have this Dutch disease. Again, they have this world's biggest sovereign fund amounting at $1 trillion. You can just go to the website of this fund and just, you know, you can watch these figures changing every second, and with all these ups and downs. They're just fantastic, really. Again, 45% of Norwegians prefer not to enter the university immediately after school. For this reason, I had a very interesting dialogue with one say, teachers in Ukraine here, and they just said to me, after I told them about this, they just said to me like, well, you don't just have to say that they don't go to schools, like half Norwegians don't go to universities after school. Well, they're losers, like, they just can't be. That's interesting because, you know, they don't prefer to go to universities immediately after school. Like, this is not a social or moral obligation for them, like, to enter university only because, you know, it will hurt your social status or something like that. Many Norwegians, after graduating from school, they go to, for example, technical colleges and start working at this early age. And so in this way, they obtain this social status and working experience before they go for the university. For example, we met our fellow friend in Norway. He's a professor. Yes, thank you. He was a professor, and he was, well, you know, 69 years old, and he's a student. So that's Norwegian reality, and that's fantastic. Again, the most useful meetings were in the parliament. You see these points. These are the most interesting points which can be implemented in Ukraine. sorry about their education system, about the absence of marks and everything. Ministry of Energy and for the Norwegian-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, they have plenty of projects between Ukraine and Norway, but as they told us, the biggest problem in Ukraine is that many managers in Ukraine don't know English very well, so that they can interact with Norwegian companies. And so I would like, on this point, leave the floor to Volodymyr, who will finish the presentation with these short 10 changes.
The most important changes which we consider shall occur in Ukraine are the changes in the system of our foreign ministry, because we shall make our foreign service really efficient, and thus we shall expand our markets, our external markets. Furthermore, we shall increase the use of IT technologies and electronic technologies in all spheres of life, and we should eliminate external relations in our commercial relations, in our really make a transparent marketing system, and we shall eliminate the marks in elementary school, because according to Norwegian experience, it really makes it hinders children to develop and to think critically, and thus we shall achieve long-term changes in Ukraine, which will include the creation of positive brand of Ukraine in the world, and our country will be famous for something positive to all other countries. We shall work on such initiatives as development of programs of within the framework of cooperation with United Nations, with the United Nations and to UNESCO, and we shall increase the work of student think tanks. And this last slide demonstrates how efficient is Norwegian society, what was the key developments which were outlined by us. So on this point, I thank you for attention, and this is the end actually of our presentation. Thank you.
Poland. You have 4 minutes. So try to be concise. You can start.
Okay. So, you can see we have our group and we have a lot of time. So our speed was 8 kilometers per hour, we run, and so we have a lot of meetings, we have a lot of paper material. It's a pity, but we lose some of them because lame and we can got all what we want. So, result, okay? No, it's not. Question. So, have checked the presentation.
It sounds from your heart.
Yeah.
Forget about this.
We have some change. Yeah. I was thinking, yeah. So,
time is 9 hours.
understand.
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay. Second slide. Second slide, yeah. And our photo next is our team. It's the famous women in Poland. It's a singer. And when we come to Poland, we in TV, in different advertisements can show this person. He is a singer. He is organized with a company and to help different children. So, next slide.
Yes,
so
we can speak.
So, what can we start? And we one day organize business. The salary, the lot of deputies have a salary because our chairman. No, you can see this whole. Okay, what structure we was? It means infrastructure, international contact center, and the Red Orchestras Catholic Moravia. College European Delegation, Natalie, and Citizen Below Independence. Next slide. When we start right now?
Is it real? My name is Andrzej Figel. Together with Maxim, we visited Poland, and I must admit that we were impressed a lot by all the meetings, especially the meeting in the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Citizen Bureau in Katowice. We were impressed a lot because the system of provision of social and administrative services, it was established at the beginning of the 90s, and from that time it was really improved a lot, and actually we have discussed all the possibilities of such improvement in Ukraine, and even some small local projects, they are being established in our local level. In Montefiore, for example, we are working on establishing of that projects together with international organizations, and we hope we should have success in that process. Except that the representatives of the best part of our team, the girls, so they have started some great project in Kyiv. I think you know about it, and you have seen what was the impact of the project on Easter, because there were a lot of installations in the center of Kyiv, and so Yulia Kachenko, she took a great part at that project, and I think that's a good beginning for after the project and our meetings and our talk over there.
And we have a lot of time. And the next slide. As you know, there was 2 weeks ago European Day, and we have a great event in Moscow Olimpiyski, the Invitational. And I represent Kyiv City Council, so we conduct negotiations with Stampada to the next year have support. And I think we have more great festival of cyber sport in Kyiv. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we visited Poland in December last year, and we visited Warsaw, Wrocław, and Kąty-Wrocławskie city, which is about 20 minutes from Wrocław. And the most impressive discussions were local government in both small and big cities, and the local deputies in Warsaw, foreign investments, Polish-Ukrainian trade cooperation and infrastructure development, including public transportation system, accommodation and facilities. That's us, and the most special about the country. And accommodation and facilities to allow people to live where they work and to have a choice on what they want to do in the area they live. So, because it makes benefits for most citizens and the authorities, because they get taxes from the where people live, but not the employment location. What was the most impressive? Public transportation system, which is scheduled to safe and comfortable for all of people, including disabled and moms with trolleys, so people can be mobile. And based on Polish experience, I prepared a project on public transportation system for my hometown Samir, which is in Lviv region, and which desperately needs an innovative, effective, and corruption-free public transportation system. And negotiations are still in process, but Samir has a great potential to get a fully transformed public transportation system. The organizations we visited provided us with information with good professional background, and we were discussing current Ukrainian issues that need to be implemented and that were implemented in Poland earlier, and we met hope, understanding, and willing to help there. Well, these 2 slides. We support the idea that short-term changes, such as public transportation system, financial education programs for kids, teenagers, ladies in business, seniors, and other
entrepreneurs, as well as general cultural and mental development for Ukrainians, energy efficiency projects, and creating an advantageous business climate and equal possibilities for people with special needs are directly related to long-term changes in Ukraine, on which our group want to focus. And in the end, it was very cool to see Ukraine a strong and rich country where people are happy and where public and private sector cooperate with each other. And that's why we want to focus your attention on our ongoing activities.
Thank you, Monia. I want to focus on our ongoing activities. Monia already told about one of them. I want to focus on another, and one of them is education. We think that one of the most significant problems in Ukraine is quite low knowledge of foreign languages. For example, the average TOEFL score in Ukraine in 2015 was 83. That's why we think that our group member Pavlo, who works who teaches children and adults English and Polish is very important. If we want to be a European country, we have and we must speak foreign languages. Another equally important sub-area is financial education. But make no mistake that financial education covers only the difference between earning, spending, and saving money. Children, through financial education, gain such skills as making decisions, independence and responsibility, which are of high importance. And of course, we all want to... Yes, and of course, we all want to...
Balls.
So we all want to live in clean and green and not polluted cities, and that's why I work in energy efficiency sector, and I already submitted 2 projects, and I work on Present 2020 project proposal. So,
thank you, Lubava. I just wanted to say this. We have seen very highly developed countries, and we know that it is because people have work and they have possibility to live in such ways. You know, when we were in the Agency of Investments of Poland, they were wondered why we don't have such agency which is responsible for investments, for working places, for everything concerning business. So I think that we must do everything to send this message to our government and to do it on our places where we work, that we must create working places and this good business climate, you know, and also we must provide these equal possibilities for people who are disabled, for handicapped people, because it's the greatest problem in Ukraine for them to find jobs. Because, look, one example, we all know and we today heard it about the bankruptcy of banks. Do you know that people, they achieve this 200,000 hryvnias, yeah, they're given this if their money, they lose their money in the bankrupt banks, but enterprises, they're not giving back their money, and the charity foundations like Bogdan Pavlish Foundation, they're not giving back their money. Millions of hryvnias, which investors will come to Ukraine and open business here? So I think that we must do everything in order to be a thriving country and to send this message to government, to other authorities, who unfortunately are not afraid of poverty. But, you know, 80% of the pensioners of Ukraine are below the poverty line. It's awful, and a disaster may wait for Ukraine if we don't change anything. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Poland and Daniel Major.
Dear friends, I'd like to tell you about our visit to Poland. We are not flying in the sky. We decided to stand on the earth. That's why we have chosen Poland. You see our group. It consists of 5 people. We support fully gender balance in our group. So we have fresh impressions because our visit was in April. We have 18 meetings within 5 working days. I worked at the Ministry of Youth and Sports for 2 months only, and Katrina She studies in Lviv National University, and 3 more girls, Lubava, Marina, and Lydia, they are students of National Academy of Public Administration. So what we get to know about Poland, some interesting fact, that Poland has 5 branches of the power. 5. Not as usual 3, like judicial, legislative, and executive. They have also Supreme Audit Office. That is, we have met like VIP, the 4th person in Poland for importance. It was the head of the Supreme Audit Office. And of course, free media. What else? Interesting fact, I'm a scout, so it was interesting for me that Poland has more than 100,000 scouts are there in Poland. In Ukraine, we have not more than 10,000. So, which are the most useful meetings? It was office of the Prime Minister, where we got a lot of information about the territorial reform in Poland. Now, what is happening in Ukraine. It was interesting information. Ministry of Education, from which we got knowledge about some institution which is called Foundation of Development of Education, but now it has functions from 2016 till 2020. It works like a national agency of the Erasmus Plus program. And this experience is very important for Ukraine. And Warsaw University of Life Sciences, it was connected with bioenergy sector. 4 key changes, what we see. To settle and law the concept of formal, non-formal, and formal education. Now we will work on the with law of formal education, but there should be also non-formal and informal. To initiate the call for proposals of youth projects and initiatives open for NGO, but schools as well. In Poland, schools can participate in this call of proposals. And to develop and implement participatory budgets, when people who live in cities, they can influence on the, for example, 1% of budget of their city. They can decide on which project this money will go. And our plans, work for development of civic and non-formal education. Now we are working on creating agency of civil education, volunteering promoting, write a project to create alternative energy laboratory, and our girls from National Academy of Public Administration, they will do their work on that post when they will graduate. So, and another message we want to tell, last one, we need to start and to teach children and youth not by the documents and what is written on those documents, but by the right examples. That's what they do in Poland. Thank you for that.
Less than 1 year ago, I couldn't imagine this day. Actually, making a presentation for almost 100 of talented, enthusiastic, and young Ukrainians, which start to make changes in our country, that's a great honor to me and to my team. So we want to share with you our emotions and conclusions on our educational trip, which took place in February this year. We visited 2 cities, Bern and Zurich, and we had all team meetings. While forming our team, we gathered specialists on different spheres, law, economics, and also even the sphere of defense. By the way, we were the first group which explored Swiss militia system. The most special about the country. For example, Switzerland, as Mr. Ambassador has already told us, has direct democracy, and it means that Swiss citizens vote 4 times per year on different 15 issues. And
Then 3% of GDP spends on research in different spheres, which means that science is really important in Swiss. Also, Switzerland's professional education and training system is unique in the world, and we put specific emphasis on this. The most useful meetings, first of all, is Swiss Federal Institute for Vocational Education and Training. Here we explore the mechanism of interaction between business and government, which guarantee the quality of education. And also it was Federal Office for Defense, and here we explore the main characteristics of Swiss militia system and specific conditions of military service system. Also Swiss National Science Foundation, interaction between science institutions, business and government, and different funding schemes which are really transparent. Okay, Zurich Police Department. Here we explored how police is formed and the interaction between police and citizens, which includes even the work in social networks. And the last but not the least, Avenir Suisse. Here we have a powerful discussion on the topic of civil society, and we get knowledge about the direction of the think tank.
So it was a small information about our impressions, but the narration ends like motions, and only the question what do we want to do lives. And we have some answers. First of all, it's our short-term projects, short-term changes. First of all, it's creating of a brief guide about Ukraine, describing its political, economic and administrative system to present a positive image of Ukraine. The next one is a website concerning Ukraine, about Ukrainian cities and their describing their development and both for communication among people of these cities about their vision of the city's future. And the third one is creating an effective system for potential applicants of program for their cooperation. So exploring this, we realize that our governmental system should be transformed in the nearest future, and we see two key spheres for that. It's educational system, and it is a system of development of civil society in Ukraine. And key activities is represented on the slide. And last one but not least, it's our ongoing initiatives and plans of our group. First of all, it is reformation of professional education system, which Daria have mentioned. The second one, it is a special educational courses for young people in Kharkiv, which will be started in the nearest future. And third one, it's improvement of current system of civil defense. And what I want to say that now we are making small but very confident steps toward the system development future of our country. And our team, we believe that we can make positive changes in our country through the creating a critical mass of progressive people for us for creating these changes. And I want to finish with a quotation of Bogdan Khmelnytsyn about that we should think global but act local. Thank you for your attention, and I believe that together we can create these changes.
If you 1 minute each. Will be time. First of all, let us express our gratitude and thankfulness for Bogdan Khmelnytsyn Foundation giving us to be a part of the Generation Will Change Ukraine program. So we as a group, Swiss 2016, only 2 months ago we have visited Switzerland. And just before coming to this country, what we think about it, it's the most wealthiest country in the world, and it conquered the top ranks ratings in the world. So actually, what to do in this country, what to consider, and what to experience in this country. So I would like to ask one question: how many of you have ever visited Switzerland? Please raise your hand. So only some of you
So very just to sum up about this, the most important about this is that Sweden has an effective mechanism how to tackle the problems, and despite the conservatism in the country. And just to underline two main things that impress us the most is the bottom-up structure of the power sharing. So starting from municipalities, they go up to the cantons and after that on the federal level. And the second one is called political awareness of the citizens. So we have a meeting where we have faced with two MPCs who are only 24 years old, and they are already in the parliament of one of the municipalities, and they can actually be a part of the country and to vote. Now I'll pass.
So my name is Lee. I want to share with you two growth points for Ukrainian economy and how the Swiss experience could help to take advantage of it. So the first thing is that, to my mind, the cornerstone project in Swiss ecosystem is vocational education training. And from the first experience in Switzerland, it may seem like a parallel universe in comparison with Ukraine. Like you need to time travel machine to learn how they fix the problems that Ukraine face now, because they've done that 100 years before. And as for implementation of vocational education training system, I believe that it could be implemented right now, started from the IT industry. IT outsourcing generates now about $2 billion revenue, and the key barrier for that is in the labor market. And the question is how to prepare a lot of programmers, and here where the experience of vocational education system comes. So it is possible to make the pilot test project, and after that share this experience for industrial profession. And the next growth point is that Ukraine could be industrial center of Europe, as Kahab and Nikita mentioned, because if we compare with Switzerland, we've got $120 average salary, and in China they have 440, and in Switzerland they have 5,000 euro. And the key challenges we met with Swiss MEM Association, they do MEM industries, it's mechanical and electrical engineering production. They export for $80 billion revenue, and the core problem is that they got expensive franc, they got low resources, and an expensive labor force. And we've got all of this competitive advantage in Ukraine, so it's possible to take benefit of it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kamina. Oh, great. My name is Tas, and I want to talk with you about the decision-making process in Switzerland. Just a short question, who of you watch football or hockey or any team sport? Raise your hands. Any team sport? Okay, so great, I think most. So when I think of some political system in decision-making process, I usually think of two teams playing, one goal, playing one goal, or against each other. When I think of Switzerland, it reminds me of one team trying, or like 22 football players trying to hit one goal. And my question is like, why? How does it happen? Because in Ukraine, apparently, we have some good laws, but even with good laws, we struggle with implementation. So when I asked Claudia Fischer at the Swiss Parliament, he said, well, we take our time and we make decisions slowly, but we make good decisions. So I asked him, like, why do you make them slowly? And he says, well, we have consensus. Well, we speak in Ukraine about consensus a lot as well, but again, we just speak about consensus, and apparently they have some different understanding. So I asked him, what is consensus? Just, not the definition, but just how do you understand it? And he told me, well, when we propose some decision, we have absolutely no expectations that this decision will be taken the way we envisaged it. Which means that we just have expectations, it'll be some kind of different decision, even though we propose it. And that was kind of a paradigm shift for me, because you just, it's just different perception. And that probably is the recipe to success, because how can you implement the law, even a good law, if you have 50%, okay, 49% of opposition, or 40% of opposition? Those of you who have tried to implement some change, they know you have to have a lot of people, on your board.
Last sentence.
Last sentence. Okay. So, I would, if we speak about the projects, our group will try to do the project where we bring children to local municipality parliament or to Rada, some local Rada, and we will try to teach them how to work out a consensus and make decisions work.
Hi to everyone. A few words more about Sweden and about the study trip that we had in February. So basically the focus area that we tried to work with was green innovation. So it's like different ideas, startups or other projects that focused on decreasing eco footprint and our environmental risks. And for this purpose we chose Sweden as the country where to go, because this country is ranked as #1 in the world as a clean tech innovation state. This is our team. You can see the 7 persons, and we divided our roles according to our interests. And the most interesting part, how we plan our trip. We came up with this kind of scheme of innovation cycle. So it's like 7 different stages that usually idea comes through to get to make real impact in the society, and it's like kind of feedback loop. So it's like how the innovation system works in Sweden. And we did starting from generating ideas, going through acceleration, and for example different startups, to commercialization, and then to making real impact on the society. And we divided our roles between the stages that we had identified. And then we had 18 meetings during our study trip, and maybe the most interesting stuff that really struck us out, it would be, of course, some general things, as you already mentioned. It's about values, of course. It's like kind of the background of any transformation in any country, and what we really felt about Swedish society, that almost every institution, company, organization that we met, they told us about trust, collaboration, and diversity, that the most important values that belong to Swedish society. Also very interesting stuff is about innovation offices that we mentioned here. It's about, we've been in Gothenburg and visited Chalmers University and visited this innovation office. It's kind of a buffer zone between researchers, so like theoretical knowledge and academia that we also have in Ukraine, and the practical world. So they kind of help researchers to disseminate their knowledge and commercialize their inventions. So with patents and like other difficult stuff. And of course, what also interesting was, next slide, it's about different organizations that we met with, and of course the most interesting part was again in Gothenburg. It's about different startups. We met 5 different clean tech startups in Chalmers lecture, and also visited Stockholm Impact Hub, and also different projects that going in that hub in the capital of Sweden. And about the conclusions, so how it will help us to change Ukraine.
So a couple of short-term changes in Ukraine that can be implemented shortly. It's first of all probably to set up green goals in Ukraine and to start open dialogue with actually Ukrainians on local and global eco problems programs and decisions that can be made to solve this problem. Also, we feel that there is lack of eco-monitoring for the companies, and it would be nice to have standards for social reporting as well. To finalize the green tariff, it's so little to just to finish this law, and we hope that it will be done shortly. And also to provide possibility to choose electricity suppliers that will break monopoly and will increase their quality of services. Also, we see need in cooperation between government and business to stimulate investment climate for green innovation, first of all. And as Sander also mentioned, that we learned how useful innovation offices, and it would be nice to have such in Ukraine for organizational support and to help commercialize innovations. And the changes that our team will do, we will try to find out our own formula of success. Maybe it sounds a little bit romantic, but we really feel that, for example, trust is one of the most values for Ukraine to start cooperation between all stakeholders. And also, we are working right now on some recommendation for educational programs on environment, and it must lead to student-led education model, which we learned in Sweden. And also, according to a work of organization where we work right now, we are working on revitalization of industrial zones, increasing of energy efficiency, promotion of green transport, and do-it-yourself projects. And what we will do in the next few months, it will be a great article which will invest in our research, and our knowledge will transform in a big conference that we will organize, and we have already ground for this conference for the US Embassy. So it will be in autumn. I hope with the help of association we will invite all of you. And we also working on the recommendation of educational programs, as I mentioned, and we are working on empowering green entrepreneurship in Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last group.
We visited Sweden in the middle of March, and we had meetings during 5 days. Our team has been changed so many times, and as a result, we got 7 people from different cities. We had people from Lviv, Ternopil, Poltava, and Dnipro. Here you can see us. And what impressed us the most that Sweden spends so much money for healthcare, and actually it's hard to explain where those money goes, because people get ill really seldom in Sweden, just because illnesses don't survive there. It's a cold country. Also, Sweden is the highest country in the European Union in terms of renewable energy, with electricity, district heating and fuel. And each Swedish school is backed 1 time in 3 years by the very special organization.
Yeah, so we had certain meetings there, and I would just mention several of them that we went to SPEC International Corporation, which is a leader of the European market. They're designing cities of the future, and right now we have just like an outcome of our meeting that we have some cooperation with them and City Council of Dnipro. Also, we went to school inspection, which is a bright example of effective controlling system, and we find out the ways of controlling of high standards school education system and the outcomes that bring this inspection. Also, we had, because in our team we had 2 doctors and 2 students who actually will become in the near future doctors, so we really had 2 very interesting meetings in the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs, and we discussed their structure of the medical system. So 3 short-term changes in Ukraine. The first one is optimized use of antibiotics, create a law which prohibits selling of antibiotics without doctor's prescription. And another one is digitalization of big amount of government data and all spheres of activity.
Another one or two key long-term changes that we would like to implement strategy based on the usage of IES services and reform educational system. So probably, yeah, you can see what we're supposed to do and what we already done. So we organized several student conferences. But finishing with the official part, I want to say something not very official. So I would say that what Sweden look like. So this is a country based on very fundamental principle, people for people, like in all spheres. So of course, as you all guys, we went to different churches, city towns, so we've been knowing some cultural specific. And when you were entering the church, so what is the first thing that you see there? Like those who were in Sweden. So what was it? Did you mention? Yeah?
Well, actually they're really simple inside. I'm talking about the design. So everything's really open and transparent, and like you don't have all those pictures.
Yeah, but I mean,
here can be a saxophonist playing something.
Yeah, so you see something for children, but another very important thing that they know that people are not stained visitors, toilets in churches. So when I get there, I say, okay, so probably we're stained people, because when we in Ukraine, so we don't need to have toilets in churches because we don't need to use them properly. So this is something that is I think a bright example of attitude that forms different levels, that when you are somebody who cares for you. So this is very basic thing that...
When you listen churches, impressed you the most?
Yeah, sure.
The motto of the group.
For sure. And also just to finish and to say, I want to say really huge thank to Charitable Foundation that we had such an opportunity, and also as a youth delegate this year to the United Nations. I want to ask all of you to be I'm very open to all of your ideas that you can come with, and from there we'll send my email so that all of we was chosen our sustainable development goal is education. So all of you who had some experience in sphere of education, I'm more than open to hear some ideas what we can do here in Ukraine.
Thank you. Now we have approached the third stage, and we can shift to Ukrainian. Зараз буде ланч. І ще таке питання. В програмі, як побачили, було After Party Meeting. Ми подумали, збираємося в Челентану, це навпроти МІПу через респект перемоги. Ми передуємо місця, там потрібно вимога 100 гривень з людини, плюс 10% чайових. Тобто, хто хоче, може зараз підняти руки, ми приблизно надамо кількість людей. Тобто, хто хоче після 6-ї, пів-6-ї зібратися, ще поговорити. Окей? Так, ви подумайте і все, тоді смачного.